Good afternoon, fret friends. We have something a little bit different on the bench today. I've never even seen one of these until it came in last night, and it's a Ernie Ball Music Man Albert Lee. There you go. This belongs to a friend of mine who's also a postman, by the way, but you're known by the name of Andy Scar. He does a mod tribute act. He does lots of stuff. He does a Paul Weller tribute act. Lots of stuff. Really talented guy. Plays all over Britain. And this is his guitar. And strange looking thing it is. And he just says, it's just not playing right. It's not sat right at the 12th fret, this, that and the other. Do your magic on it and blah, blah, blah. So I've got free reign to do whatever needs doing to this guitar. Now then, I wouldn't imagine it needs to do a fret level or anything, but it certainly does need a setup. So we're going to set it up. We're going to set this locked. The tremolo, he doesn't use a tremolo. So quite an easy setup for me. I believe there are new strings on it anyway, so we're going to leave them on. Locking tuners on there. Should be quite an easy one. All I've really got to do is clean it up, set it up. So an easy one for me. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to check the setup. I'm going to alter the setup slightly. I will remove the strings because I don't think this is, I don't know, I might try and give this a clean, this fingerboard, because it gets dirty really easily. So I might get some kind of soap or something like that. I don't know. Don't want to get it too wet because we don't want the wood fibres changing in any way, shape or form. This is a real weird colour because it is a kind of a cream sparkle. Don't know if you can see it there. It's got like a, it's like almost opaque sheen to it, and it's definitely sparkly. Very strange. So yeah, never seen one of these before, so a little bit of fun with it, and I'll come back and let you know my thoughts in a while. Okay, so I have a guitar on the bench, resting securely. I've got a set of what I call standard setup tools. So standard setup tools, what you need are notched straight edge, because it's straight edge and it's got notches in it, and these notches fit over the frets. And this is a Fender scale, length 25.5 inches, and that enables me to see if the neck is straight or not. Well, it's got a little bit of relief in it, but we do like that, so that's good. I'm just going to measure relief. So again, another standard tool is a feeler gauge, and I'll be looking for a measurement around about 6th fret of about 0.2 to 0.25 millimeters. That is the gap under this not straight edge and the little arc. That's what we call relief. It's a smiley bend in the neck, and I'm just going to measure it here and see what we are measuring. So that's probably a little bit too much because there's more than 0.25 there, so I'll be looking to straighten the neck a little. Now we could do that with something, because this has got one of those a knurled wheel type affair on that end. We could just take an Allen wrench, and we just need to tighten that a little, and we're just going to tighten it just a little, and that should be enough. I'm going to measure again, and that will straighten the neck up by tightening. Now you see we've already got any relief in there. We're going to measure again at the 6th fret, and I like that. Can you hear? So we've got 0.25 at the 6th, or between the 5th and 7th. So I like that. So we've used standard feeler gauge. I've got a metric one because I use metric measurements as we do in England. So then we've also got you need one of these, a string action gauge. That gubbins here, and I'm going to measure the gap from the top of the 12th fret to the bottom of the string, and I'd like to see something between 1.5 and 1.75 millimeters on the bass side and 1.25 to 1.5 millimeters on the treble side. So let's have a look, see where we are. We are, yeah, 1.75 on the bass side, and we are 1.5 on the treble side. Now I knew this was all right because I checked this yesterday. So we've now used 3 tools. Use a not straight edge, the feeler gauge, and the string action gauge. Buy all these things on relatively cheaply. Things you can't buy relatively cheaply are these. These are called a radius gauge, and these are all different sizes. And I've been looking. I'd imagine this is going to be, if it's a Fender scale, it'll be 9.5, but if it's not, it'll be probably something like a 12. I've got no idea what this should be, so I'm going to go with a 10 and see what the 10 is saying. And the 10 is saying I'm just about right, Victor Kroll, is what it's saying. So I'm going to check with the 12, because it could be either or. We slide this under this, we go in the, take it in the middle of 2 strings, we slide it in and under, like so, make sure we get it in the right place. We can bring this under the strings and we can just check. Well, it's certainly not a 12, so it's going to be a 9.5. It will be probably a 10, but let's check with a 9.5. I'm going to go with Fender scale, even though it's not a Fender. That is saying to me that's just about a 9.5 or a 10, so I'm happy with that. So we're going to check and get the corresponding radius on the saddles here. And again, oh, they are way too flat. So we've got to do a lot of altering on these strings in the middle. So we're going to bring all the middle saddles up quite a bit. So where we're looking at, I'm going to loosen these strings, and I'm going to bring these right up. I'm not going to come in close. I'd imagine that'll be round about a 1.5mm hole in there, or Allen wrench in there. Now I do have my Allen wrench out over here. Let's try 1.5. Might not be, it might be a non-metric, it might be an imperial. But let's go, safe bet is normally a 1.5. The 4th one. And that looks perfect to me. So we're going to raise all of these middle saddles because we know the 2 outside ones are set perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise these higher than they need to be, and we're going to drop each one onto that radius gauge I showed you. And then the radius here will match the radius of the neck and the radius down at the nut end. If I'm going too fast, pause, rewind and replay. I hope this is giving you a bit of an idea of how we set up the guitar. I'm not closing in on anything close. Don't forget, these videos are just for me and the client really. They're not actually how-to videos as such. I may, when I have time, make some how-to videos. And there are a few on my YouTube. Now these saddles, people like to set these in an arc. But you don't do, you set the arc, yeah, but you still have the saddle straight. You don't have them bent like that and coming over. You have them all straight, so it's just step up and step back down. So I'm going to do that with these 2 outside ones. Andy bumped me, says it's just not right. It's just not sitting right, the action's not right. So I'm going to get as low as I can for him. Obviously without any rattle or buzz. So I've got the 2 outside ones set how I want them. Again, I'm just going to bring this one up a tad. So what we do then is we take the radius gauge again. I'm going to settle on a 10. So I'm going to go with the 10. Now what we do is we place it right in the middle on the dot and we slide it under all of the strings. Because what I want is, I want this under the strings. We know the 2 outside ones are set. So we want to bring this up and we want each of these saddles now, with each of these strings lowering onto the top of this radius gauge. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. And once it's matching, we know the strings are the same height above the fingerboard, down the whole length of the neck. That's every string. So I've got enough light above me there to show, give me enough shadow so I can see where these strings are. And what I need to do is slightly tighten these strings up a bit, give me more of an idea. Should have done that before, but anyway, back to where we were. Exactly the same again. Got the 10 radius under there, and we're just going to see where we are. And that's still too high. That's fine. And once radiuses are matching, I don't need to touch this again. Looks pretty good. So dropping each string onto the top of the radius gauge. and just have a look, see where we are. And that is set. So we've now set the radius on the saddles to match the radius of the neck, so that's fantastic. Now I'm just going to check that everything is more or less level. That's a little bit low on that side, so I'll go just bring it up in that, and again here a very tiny amount, and on the outside again very tiny amount. That was pretty good. And that now means all the strings the same height above the fingerboard all the way down the length of the neck. Stick your tune on, we'll get somewhere close to tuning. So we're very close to tuning this, so what we're going to do next is we're going to stretch the strings in. Now what we've done is we have set the amount of relief in the neck, we've set the action at the 12th fret, we've set the radius, so we're going to stretch the strings in. Once it's stretched in, we're going to check the intonation. So I'm going to have a little break for a minute, answer me text, and I'll come back in a short while. Very interesting, there's a battery in here somewhere. Nice big brass block in the back there, but there's a battery. And I don't know what that does, because I've checked the pots and nothing is push-pull. The switch is a bit iffy. I imagine it's supposed to be a 5-way, but I've no idea what it does. I'm going to have a look at that switch because it doesn't feel right. But the reason I've took the back off is I want to tighten these claw screws, because I need to bring this, I want to bring this tight up very, very tight, because he doesn't use a tremolo, so I want this block right back. So I'm going to take a long screwdriver and get into these screws and try and screw them right up. Or certainly screw them more up than they are. Now this is not the right size screwdriver, it's a little bit big, this screwdriver, but we are getting some purchase on it. That's as much as we get out of that one. And I think that'll be enough. We should not be able to pull this up now. Well, we can a bit, but I tell you what, it's hard enough down there now. So we're going to just check the tuning again. I'm not a big fan of locking tuners, never have been. Because if you I've got to take these strings off and use them again. And normally when you use these again, they normally snap right where they go in the hole. And if that's the case, I've got to put a bang of set of strings on there. You know, which is no big deal for me. It's I've got plenty of strings. It just means the owner's got to pay for a set of strings. I only charge £5 anyway. They're about £8 in the shops now, I believe. Guitar strings, £8 a set. I'll pay a little bit less because I buy them in bulk. I buy them in sets of 25. I pay about £4. In fact, I don't pay that. 25 sets I pay about £3 something. Don't pay a lot. I have to go from America though, from Stumac. I'm just getting that white because there's some cleaning fluid on there. It was there before I picked the guitar up. So that's that. So I'm going to stretch the strings in. It's just a matter of most people don't stretch the strings enough. Seriously. I'll tell Andy I'm going to go with a new set on here because I'm going to do this off camera. Next time, it'll be tomorrow now. I'm going home in a minute because my wife just said she's going home, so I'm going to meet my wife at home before I go out tonight. I've got a church thing on tonight, so I'm going to finish this off tomorrow, so check back. Welcome back guys, we're on next day. Now, before I took strings off, I did check the intonation, and I've set it all on these lowest 4 strings, the highest 4 should I say, but the A needs a spring changer because the spring's too fat and I can't get enough adjustment on my saddle, so I'm going to swap that with the spring on the E, which is the right spring for the A string, and then I can get the intonation right. So what I've done is I've took the strings off, I've binned them, chucking them away. So in taking the strings off, I've got the neck dead straight. I torque the truss rod just a little bit, get dead straight, and we're just going to check the condition of the frets. Now I can already see there's some pitting and some deep grooves on these lower frets at this end. I'll try and just show those. You might be able to see them there. First 4 or 5 frets. Let me hold it there, and you might be able to see. You should be able to see. I'm not going to let it worry me at the moment. I'm just going to check for level because I'm hoping it doesn't need a fret level. It shouldn't do. So the 5th bit of standard equipment for a setup. This is a fret rocker. 4 edges. We have 4 edges, so we can always measure 3 frets at a time. Now this is precision straight, each edge, and the reason we want that is, and we want 4 lengths, is we need to check 3 frets at a time. And if we get a rock, we know the middle one is high. So we're just going to check these, and I think this should be okay on a guitar of this stature. That one's a little bit high. So we've got number 4's a little bit high. We're not going to worry about that at the moment, because I can tap that back down, I imagine. I don't want to be doing a fret level on this. I just want a straight setup, and these frets are nice. They are level. We've got 1 slightly high, and that could just be because of that pitting. I'd probably just a little groove there. So I'm going to leave that because the guitar plays fine as it is. And see, I'm turning it over and just checking 3 frets at a time. Those frets to me are as good as, but almost perfect. They're level. So 1, 2, 3. Was it number 4? Bit high there, but a little bit higher there. I'm just going to tap that with a fretting hammer, which I have here. Just going to use a nylon end. Just give that a little tap down. That should be enough. No, it's just worked its way loose. It's still a tiny bit high. What I'm going to do with that is, and I'm not going to charge Andy for this, I'm going to take a file to it and I'm just going to level that 1 fret. I'm not going to charge him for that. I'm going to charge him a 50 quid setup, that's it. I'm not setting the tremolo, so there's no extra for the tremolo. What files have we got in here? That's my Z file. Let's just go with standard. See, that's a diamond file, but it's nice and smooth. Just going to go across. I'm not even going to polish that up. Just a tiny bit off there. And that's already worked wonders for us, look. Just took a tiny bit off that 1 fret, and now we've got it level. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. So all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to give it some wipe with some oil. Doesn't need a fret level. I'm not even going to bother touching that nut. It's a compensated nut. I don't like touching those things. I'm going to leave that exactly as is. So it's just a standard setup, straight £50. The job is a good one. I do believe this battery says that's a silencer. So it's like, it must be like a built-in noise gate. It says it keeps the single coils, removes any interference or hum. I'll take him on his word for that. So what I'm going to do to clean this, I'm going to just squirt it with some oil. This is what you call lemon oil, but it's actually mineral oil. With some lemon zest in there, just to make it smell nice. That's all it is. It's not lemon oil. There's no such thing as lemon oil that I know of. It's got some lemon. It's lemon scented, that's what it is. As in S-C-E-N-T, scent as in smell. So I don't think this is going to clean anything. You have to take some saddle soap or something to that to get that clean. But it's going to create a barrier, so it should stop it getting dirty next time, maybe, I don't know. So straight to £50 setup for Mr. Scar, Mr. Andy Scar. Now check him out, Andy Scar, SKA, as in the style of music. He's all over Facebook. He gigs every week. He gigs. Oh, it looks like there's been some glue spilt on here, down this end here. Not that I'm going to worry about it. So yeah, so this is going to have to get some saddle soap or something on there. Now the frets where they're pitted, it's not going to affect the way it plays at the moment, but a little bit later on or somewhere down the line, it will cause problems. I dare say we could give them a level and a recran, but it's still going to, it's quite a soft fret wire I imagine on these. It's not like the fandangled new stuff you get nowadays. I'm using 25% nickel silver fret wire now. It's nearly as hard as stainless. It's fantastic. I dare say if I'd let that settle a bit, I might have got more muck off this, but you see, we're getting some off. I'm not in so much of a rush today, but I've got my car's been in the paint shop, my Jag, and it's ready today, so I've got one pick it up and drop off the hire car and pick my car up. Well, I say hire car, it was a courtesy car, because I claimed on the person's insurance who hit my car. The woman who said she didn't hit my car, and we got her on camera hitting my car and her checking the damage, and she said she'd never hit it. Well, we got on video, so she's in a little bit of trouble, unfortunately. And if she'd held up to it, we'd have got the job done a lot cheaper without going through the insurance. Because I know a man who would have done me the work for about £250. But this has had to go through the insurance, so it's cost her a lot more. But anyway, it's another story for another forum. So, should I let some oil soak in there? Because I might be able to rub more off later. I'd like to hit this with some kind of soap, but I don't want anything to affect the wood. See, I don't want to start scratching in there or getting sandpaper in there or anything, because I don't want to be hitting the frets. I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to give that another squirt of oil and let that sit and soak in for a short time. Give it a good coat. Look at that now. Now we're hitting it with oil. I'm going to let that soak in 10 minutes and just see if that gives us a cleaning effect with the oil, soaking into the finger grind on there. We'll leave that, and in the meantime I could get these frets polished, couldn't I, with some steel wool. Now I don't know if you've noticed, you probably don't see it, but down this end of the bench I've got some tape stuck to the bench, and that's tape I use for covering pickups. And when I remove it from guitars, I don't throw it away. If it's still in good condition, I tape it to the bench, and then I come and use it again later on. Like, it's perfect just for covering the pickups, because I'm going to be using steel wool, and I don't want the steel wool to get into the pickup cavities or anywhere near the pickups. So here you go, look, we can cover. And these are things you pick up as you're learning the process. And I've been using this low contact Scotch 3M tape, blue tape, for many years. Nigel Robertson taught me this trick. He says if you're covering your guitar and you ain't got a chamois or whatever, get some tape down first, just in case you do ding it with a file or anything. Chances are you're going to be alright with some of this on. Better off with a bit of chamois leather, which again I do have. I keep bits of leather, chamois, just for doing the same thing, you know, and stick various bits in various places, just in case you drop anything. But we tend not to lift tools over guitars in this workshop. So we're going to let that settle and soak in for a short while. It's lovely and warm in here. I've got a fabulous oil radiator there. I don't know what it's costing me, I don't care. If it costs me £200 a month, I'm not bothered. It's worth it to be warm. So I'm going to leave that there, let that soak in, do its job. Now in the the meantime, while I'm waiting for that to do its job, I'm going to grab some. I will put them on while we're done with them. Oh, I think I put them in the wrong thing. Let's slip that back down there, that in there. Maybe I've stuck them in this one. Oh, I've done myself a disservice here. I've got some fret guards and I've put them away somewhere. Now, let's see. They're not fret guards, they're fingerboard guards. You put them over a fret. What have I done with those? I've put them in the wrong place somewhere. I don't know where I've put them. Okay. That makes the job a lot more difficult. I shall look for them. Off camera, I think. What have I done with those? I bet I've put them in the wrong thing. I know it. It's obvious I put them in the wrong thing. They normally go in there with those. Okay. Oh, that's not clever, is it? Look in there, that's all blank nuts. Not blank, should I say. Okay. That's not them. That's not them. That's not them. That's them. They are in there, look, where they're supposed to be. Just stuck at the side there. I'll get those in there. That's all the Floyd Rose stuff in there. That's my wrenches for the trussel nuts. And there you go. These gubbins here, look. And while that oil is soaking, we can get the fret guards on and we can polish these frets with some steel wool. And there, oh, a fat one there. Is that? Oh, that's probably a better one, but I don't know if it'll fit there. Will it fit there? Won't quite fit that end. Will fit this end though. Okay, we're just going to bend that round just a little. Just give a little curve on there. And there you see, that's beautiful. And that one there. So that's all nice. I've got some old polishing steel wool, finest grade, super fine. And all we're going to do while the fret guard's on there is, let me try and keep the hand out of the way. It's just a matter of keeping that in place and polishing over the frets. And just getting any grime and whatever off there. I'm doing it awkward for me so you can see what I'm doing. But it doesn't take long and it's just a quick wipe over. So I'm going to crack on, get this done. Once that's done, I'll give that oil another 5 minutes and I'll wipe it off and open. It's going to take some of the grime and dirt off the fingerboard. So there you go, so I'll be back shortly. So a couple of things I've done. I let that oil soak in a bit longer and it has cleaned up a little bit, still not that clean. There'll be some kind of stuff you can get to clean that up, I imagine, but it's only going to get dirty again. It's because it's not sealed. You know, so it looks like someone, it was lacquered and someone scraped the lacquer off or sanded the lacquer off. Frets are polished, a few divots here and there, they're not going to cause a problem. The frets are level. I just had to adjust that one just a little bit, take a little bit off the top of that. That's all good now. Something else I did, where I couldn't show you properly earlier, couldn't get this saddle back enough for the intonation, the A, so I swapped the shorter spring with, I took that out of the E string and put the longer one on the E string, because that needs to be set more or less like that. So that's given us the right amount. We can pull it back enough now to get the intonation right on the A string. I've got to reset the radius on these saddles when I get the strings back on. You know, I put the tape on because we polished the frets with some steel wool. So that was just to stop any steel wool bits getting into the pickups there. I can reuse this tape. I always reuse this tape until the sticker goes. It lasts quite a while. No point to keep chucking it away. It's expensive stuff. It's about £8 a roll, this gear. So I'm going to have a quick look there. I'm going to use the old bit of the thing I did the fingerboard with. It's got a little bit of oil on it and that'll be just enough to clean these tape smears off this pick guard, which I believe Andy put on himself to give it that Scar vibe. Check him out, Andy Scar. You'll find him. He's also known as the Weller fella. He does a Weller tribute act as well. It's very good. I had him down at our local club a couple of years ago. I didn't get to see it, I wasn't very well. And I've moved since. But there you go, it looks very nice. Very nice guitar. So what I'm going to do now is going to bag some 9s on there. Once a set of 9s on, stick a set of 9s on there. Just check all these things are all tightened up and the tuners are all tight. Everything's working right. Check all the screws everywhere. Oh, I don't like this 5-way, do I? It's okay. So it is a 5, 4, 3, 2. Ooh, it's a little bit squiffy. Maybe that will need a little bit of cleaner in there. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to whip this off and have a look at it, because I don't like it. I wish I put my electric screwdriver in now. I've let this at my ass. I took it there to sort some door handles out at home. So now I've got unscrew. There's about 17 on it. I don't know how many's on there. I've not counted them. There's more than 11. Down a strat. So you'll have to just potter about while I do this. I'm probably turning the camera off now. Andy's asked, he says, will there be a video? Of course it's a video, mate. It's always a video. Nice guitar. Level frets. I had a few music bands in, and I think they've all had level frets. Says a lot. Says a lot, that does. Not all guitars are getting have level frets, even the expensive ones, and I mean really expensive ones. Crikey. I've had stuff straight out of Kalamazoo with unlevel frets on them. Scandalous what you pay for them things. £3,000 for a guitar and it's not got level frets. Not this one. Frets are level on this. How many screws have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8. It is 11. Seems like more. Always seems like more. 9. I'm just doing this just to have a look at that 5-way, because it's might need a little squirt of switch cleaner. Let's see where we are. So we're basically a Strat type configuration here. Okay, let's have a look inside here, shall we? A couple of full-size pots, we'd like to see that. Will be a CTS. Oh, wireless for the input jack. We'll like a bit of that. That's the bit of kit there. This Ernie ball, it's like a big cylinder. I don't know if you can see it where you are under there. That's the noise emitter reducer. It's got a little trim pot on there as well. So imagine if it's not working right, you alter that trim pot. So this is working okay, it just doesn't click. 3, 4, 5, yeah, it's clicking right that way. Just a little bit fiddly. I'm going to put a little bit of switch cleaner in there. I may as well have a squirt in the pots as well while we're at it. While we've got everything off, we'll give it some, this is my switch cleaner of choice, Service Old 10, Super 10. I had a tin of this, I bet it lasted me 7 years. I've just got this, it shouldn't last 7 years. I've not been using it enough. Not been doing enough guitars, have I? Going to give it a bit of switch cleaner in these pots for no reason other than I've got access to them. Whether it needs it or not, it will still clean some carbon. It's got a signature on one of these pots back here. Don't know what that's about. I'm going to give it a little bit just on here. I'm just going to give it a little squirt down here, look. It's not going to hurt anything. Might just clean any carbon deposits there. And a lovely wiring job on this. I do like to see tidy wiring. So a little on the pots. And that will be it. That will be good enough. Lovely, lovely finish on this. You can't, I don't know if the camera picks it up, it's just beautiful. Right, let's give this a wipe inside. Any excess switch cleaner we've got in there, it'll dry off anyway, but let's just give it a wipe. Let me bring the camera in just a little and show you this gubbins here. This little contraption here, that's what your battery's for. It's a little noise reduction mechanism, stops you, makes these pickups noiseless. I believe a little trim pot on there which you can alter. So if it's not quite doing what it's supposed to be doing, that will sort it out. There's no treble bleed kit on there. I always like to see a treble bleed kit, but there's not one on there. And there's some initials on this pot here. Don't know what that's all about. But yeah, pickguards.com. WD Custom Pickguard, handcrafted and inspected by RC, Master Craftsman. There you go. So yeah, so here's your little, it's a great piece of kit this. How does this unplug? It just to pull out. There you go, and that means you can just put, oh there you go, I could have just pulled that out, couldn't I? So here's your little noise reduction mechanism, well, it's not mechanism, but piece of kit in there, don't know what it is. A little trim pot, you can just see. Little trim pot just there underneath that wire, look. There you go, maybe you can see it from this side. It's a 35, it says 35k on it, Ernie Ball, patent number on there, blah blah blah, there you go. See it better there, I bet. So how good's that? What's that about? Very nice. I'm just prattling, because I don't know much about it. I have to get on the internet later. Get on the interweb and go and have a look and find out what it's all about. I've never come across it before. Never had one of these guitars in before. Very nice. Just make sure we're going right road with that. And we'll get this all plugged back in. Very nice. Good to see. Other companies could take some lessons off of Music Man there and learn something with that. Let's try and get that out of the road there. That's gone in nice. It's gone in straight away, beautiful. I am going to stop the camera now because it can take me a while to plug these back, screw these screws back in. But what a lovely, lovely piece of kit. Just going to put the spotlight a little on these locking tuners. There's no brand name on there that I can see. It's not important, I suppose. They're probably made for Music Man by one of the big companies. Maybe it was Charlotte or Grover or someone. And there you go, made on the back on the guitar, made in San Luis Obispo, California, USA. And the Ernie Ball Music Man backplate there with the serial, 6-digit serial. That's the backing plate, so the front plate would have been like that. And there's your battery for your noise reducing mechanism, not mechanism, but gadget, gizmo. We'll go with gizmo. I can tell looking at this, the lacquer has been scratched off this fingerboard. Someone's took it off. The lacquer's on there to stop it getting grimy and mucky like that as much as anything. But anyway, lovely guitar, weird shape, not my thing, but I'm sure it's a very, very fine player. I will play it before it goes back. But what I'm going to do now is now put everything back together. I'm going to, we'll not be using the tremolo, Andy won't. I'll tell you what, if you do, you're going to snap the bar now because I've locked that right back, screwed them screws right in now the strings are off. The 5-way's working a lot better now. You do have to feel for it, so you know, you have to caress it into position sometimes. We're going to stick a set of Diodario 942s on there. Now I should have some somewhere. Here we go. It's cheaper for me to get these from Stumac in America because I get free postage. And a set of 942s here, we're going to stick a set of them on. I get these from America. I normally buy 25 sets now because it works out cheaper as well. I've got 25 boxes of 1046s over there. What have I got down here? Some 1149s, they go on my Telecaster. Beautiful. And some spare 1046s, I've got loads of strings down there. But there you go, I'm going to stick a set of these on. 942s, locking tuners. I'm just going to check this end. Always give these things a tighten down here. Grab my spanner. Again, Stumac. Didn't have to buy Stumac, but you know, they were there, and I've got a set of 3 of these, different sizes. Is that a 10? It certainly is not. So it's going to be an Imperials. Oh, hang on, 10's there. It is a 10. It's got to be a 10. Only a 10. Yeah, they're 10, I think. I'll tell you in a second. Yes, it just goes on. They're already tight. Don't need them that tight. A little bit tighter than they need to be. They are. Don't need to go tight with these things. It's going to call. I bet there's indentations in that now. to go mental on these things. There you go, just like that. Just need to nip them. All you need to do is give them a nip. What's this? I'm going to pull it back and just give it a nip, just like that. That's all you need. That's all you need there. Right, we're going to make sure the strings or the holes are all this way so we can get the string straight in. Leave a little bit of slack. We do like a little bit of a extra just in case they do snap. I don't like these things. They tend to snap strings in my experience. Not for me, but you know, each to the own. I'll stick that out of the way there. Get these strings out. So, right, and I'm going to string the guitar. Now it is a string through because we've got the big brass block at the back. So set of 942s, Diodario. Blah, blah, blah. Player circle code on there. Go and check the code, make sure they're real if you want to. I know these are real because they're from Stumac. Scissors out of the way. So I'm not going to show you me stringing it up. I'll bring you back in when I need to sort out the intonation. We'll check the intonation again in a short while. I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to thread strings through these locking tuners, but this is the way I do it. And I like to thread it not straight at the hole because it sends this off at an angle. I like to go round the post. So when I'm threading a string, I'm going to show you the next string in a minute, I come in through the back hole, so I loop it round, and that gives me a straight line from the tuner right to the string. Otherwise, if I went straight to the hole, this would be off centre, it'd be pulling that way, and I don't like that. So it's the way I do it, and I'm just going to show you. I got that one on, then I thought, hang on, I should be showing people. I'm not a fan of these, you know that. I like the ones with a hole in, the Fender type, and I like to see wraps around post me. That's just me. So anyway, we're going to get the next string. I'm going to show you how I do it. So we get the string in through the block at the back there. There you go. That's coming through the other side. That's good. Straight in there, and this is the way I like to do it. I like to come in, get all the holes lined up that way, and I'm just going to go through, wrap it round, go through there. There you go. This is the way I like to do it. And that's it, and that's it there, and that's going in that road now. And I'm just going to tighten up the thing here, just finger tight. There you go, and that's it. And we're just going to wrap it underneath, just one wrap. And there you go. We can nip that off right there. Same with this one. Nip that off right there, and that's it. And we're getting the strings going in a perfectly straight line from a nut right to the outside of the post, and they're all going to be going in a straight line. That for me is the right way to do it. Also, if we snap anywhere, especially if you snap this side, you've still got enough string left. Sometimes, whatever. Ignore what I just said there. But anyway, that's the way I do it. So one more time. If I can get these ones undone. Right. Diodario's is black before the green. I always remember which way it is because I love green and black's chocolate, and I know it's opposite to that. It's black and then green when you're doing it from bass string down to treble string. So me and my little ways. So have you in there. So one more time. Come in through the back. There's nothing wrong with these tuners. I just don't like them. I don't see the point. I don't see the point of spending 70 quid on a set of these when standard tuners are perfectly fine. Especially, I love the Fender ones where you thread into the hole going down, like the ones I've got on my Classic Vibe Telecaster. Fantastic tuners, my favourites. Foolproof, don't slip. So there you go. So that's it. We're going to do the same. And again, we're going in a straight line from a nut straight to the edge, in a straight line all the way down the neck. Perfect. We are 5:46 in the PM, and that's enough work for me today. Do remember that I work away from home now. I'm 4 miles away from my house. So there you go, and this guitar is finished. And I love it and I don't, if you know what I mean. I mean, I don't like the shape, but everything else about it, I really, really like it. It's a fantastic, the paintwork's fantastic. It's a very, very well-made guitar. It also has level frets, even though there's some pitting and dents in the lower end, they're still fine. But the guitar itself, volume, tone, I imagine, 5-way switch, Strat type configuration in the pickups. I've hard-tailed the bridge. We're at a level 1 fret, we've polished the frets, we've cleaned up the fingerboard best we can, not touched the nut, restrung it, set the intonation and the radius on the saddles. I had to swap the A spring with the E spring because the A needed to go further back for the intonation. So a little bit of messing about there, but that was alright. I've tightened the claw right back, so we are hard-tailed now. That's going to be fantastic. If he puts a bar in there and tries to use it, he's going to snap the bar. We stuck a set of 942 Dioderios on there, standard Dioderios. So I've had a good clean. I've tightened all the nuts and bolts and checked everything, and it is in fine fettle. So it is an Ernie bought Music Man Albert Lee, belongs to my good friend Andy Scar. Check him out, check Andy Scar or the Weller fella. You'll find him on YouTube, no problem. Or if not YouTube, definitely on Facebook. Check him out. Real nice guy as well. He's also, like me, a postman. That's how I met him, actually. No, I didn't meet him through a while. I met him through guitars, but it became apparent, and it was partly because of him I became a postman. So there you go. What a beautiful guitar. It's all finished. I'm ready for going home, getting some tea, and seeing my lovely wife. So until next time, just before I do go, I will remind you of my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I am Victor. I am your fret friend, and until the next time, as always, God bless you. Be good to each other, and I'll see you next time.